Hello everyone, we're in Nice, we're in France, we're ready for part 2 of Worlds Week. Brian David-Marshall, Rich Hagon here with you, gearing up BDM for the World Magic Cup. In the calendar, is there a better Magic day than day one of... Right. No, I didn't think...
No.
I didn't think so either.
This is hands down my favorite tournament of the year.
Tell us why.
You know what? It's, this opportunity to see Magic's global reach, to see players from all around the world competing for the honor of, being the champions of their country. And you see players come in face paint. You see players come in national costume. You see players screaming with pride as they wave their flags.
Hats, kilts, skirts.
It's unbelievable. The energy and the level of competition that you see. It's just this great showcase for the game and for players all over the world that, maybe we don't always get the chance to see playing on the, the big stage.
All right. For those of you who haven't been at a Worlds Week before with us, there are a lot of formats to get through, and they have some pretty strange rules, not going to lie. So why don't we walk everyone through, before all the hype, let's walk them through how this is going to pan out. BDM, the schedule and the formats. Let's begin with Friday.
Well, Friday we're going to start with Khans of Tarkir Team Sealed. The teams are going to get 12 packs of Khans of Tarkir, and they are going to build 3 decks. All the cards must be assigned to the 3 players, and that's really how they're going to get their day started. This was a format we just saw at Grand Prix Nashville. Very, very skill-intensive format. Really, the teams that have not practiced this format are going to be at a huge disadvantage. If they're like, oh, it's Team Sealed, we can do this. No, this is a tough nut to crack.
Okay, so that gets you to lunchtime on Friday. Then, the afternoon, you thought Sealed was a puzzle. Here comes Unified Standard. What is Unified Standard?
Here's the easiest way to understand Team Unified Standard. You need to build 3 decks. But you need to be able to take those 3 decks and stack them on top of each other and still have that 225 cards or more be a standard legal deck.
Right.
So that means, that Windswept Heath, well, you can only have, not Windswept Heath, I'm sorry. But yeah, you can only have 4 of them across your decks. You can only have 4 of anything other than basic lands. You can only have 4 of them across all 3 decks.
Yeah, I kind of think of it as like going to a PTQ in a car with 2 friends, and you've got 1 trade folder between you with exactly 4 Abzan Battle Priest, and exactly 4 Anger of the Gods, and exactly 4 of everything.
But the easiest way to think about it is stack them into 1 225 card deck. Is this a legal standard deck? Then you're good.
All right. Well, you're at least allowed to play. It doesn't prove you're good because
you've won round 3.5.
Right, absolutely. So at the end of round 7, at the end of day 1, that's Friday, 32 teams will come back. As a guide, last year there were 71 teams, and only 1 team with a positive record failed to make day 2. That was Team Sweden. We might come back to Team Sweden in a little bit. So a positive record gives you a great, great chance of making it to day 2. On day 2, the formats stay the same. Morning, Khans of Tarkir, Team Limited. Afternoon, Unified Standard. But the way that we play the Magic is very different, BDM.
Yeah, we go into podded play.
All right.
So players are going to be, seeded into pods, and the teams, based on ranking. And then at the end of each leg of the competition, we're going to drop the lowest 2 finishing teams out of their pod.
So it's a straightforward halfway split. Top 2, carry on. Bottom 2, go home. And for the first time this week, we will say it at a conservative estimate 400 times, seeding matters.
Oh, yes.
Because if you are on the same record as another team, whoever had the highest seed coming into the pod of 4 teams advances.
Speaking of 4, it's worth talking about. We talked about Team Sealed. We talked about 3 decks. There are 4 players on each team.
So
right?
This is the musical chairs dance of when the music stops. Who's What happens to number 4?
Yeah, they go into coach mode.
Right. Pick me, coach. So you will see, it's really interesting that the configurations, you can have the best player behind 2, 3, 4, looking at all 3 matches. You can have 1, 2, and 3, and number 4's off buying everyone a sandwich and a drink. You can have, like, number 2 behind 3 and 4, leaving number 1 to just get on and win their match.
He knows what's going on. These guys need a little help, etc.
It's almost like soccer formations, the way that the teams will deploy their troops over the 2 days. So you make the top 2 in your pod, you come back for the top 16. You make the top 2 in your pod on Saturday afternoon. By the way, the tension there will be unbearable. You get to come back on Sunday, and then BDM, we're in business with the biggest day of the Magic year.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. We'll have 8 teams playing on Sunday. We're going to then, that they'll get cut down to a top 4. And then once we, get to the top 4, then we get to our top 2. And we get down to the, determining who is going to be the World Magic Cup winner.
Rakdos return off the top for France last time. So that's what's going on. Now, there are prizes for this. They're not just playing for fun, although fun is...
They would play not for fun, but for national pride. You would see a lot of these teams show up without $12,000 per player on the line for first place and 8 pro points.
Yeah, and by the by, I think the top right there is super significant. All members of the top 8 teams also get invitation and airfare to Pro Tour Fate Reforged in Washington, D.C. Why don't we hypothesize for a moment and offer you 8 teams who, well, they'll be hoping to do very, very well this weekend. Who knows how far they'll go. Why don't we start with Team Canada? Off we go.
If you look at Magic over the last year, Canada has just been a powerhouse. I mean, Alexander Hayne, you see, who won the last WMCQ for Canada, Pro Tour champion, former Rookie of the Year, Sean McLaren, 2 Pro Tour top 8s. And, if you talk to the Canadian players, they have a lot of time for Fournier and Goldfarb.
They certainly do. Let's go to Chinese Taipei next. These are one of the teams with a 1-2 punch, we like to say. They have a great team captain in Su Chin Kuo. They also have an outstanding lieutenant in Huang Hao Shan. He's got 5 Grand Prix top 8s to his name, part of the MTG Mint Card clan, a terrific squad.
And Su Chin Kuo, of course, the first World Magic Cup champion.
From 2012 in Indianapolis. Let's move on. And Brian David-Marshall, we will go to right here and defending champions.
Yeah, France, there's Ralph Levy led the French national team last year. If you talk to Jeremy Dezzani, he'll tell you that not only did Levy lead the French national team, but really led him to his Player of the Year title last year. That Ralph Levy was just this tremendous mentor for him. And so, a little bit of pressure on Jeremy to follow up on last year's World Magic Cup victory by France.
I'm going to show you the Hungarian national team, and I'm going to start by telling you about someone who isn't there, Gabor Coxis. By absolutely universal agreement within the Hungarian Magic community, only the addition of Gabor Coxis to that graphic there would give you a better Hungarian national team. They are great. And by the way, am I imagining things? Or did Tamás Nagy win a Grand Prix when we're watching it yesterday? Right.
Yes, he did.
Hungary, 4th in 2012, 2nd in 2013. Do not be surprised if they go one better this time. BDM, who have we got next? We stay in Europe with the Slovak Republic.
I mean, even Flock, two Pro Tour top 8s in rapid succession, a former World Team champion with the Slovak Republic. And then, you see down at the bottom there, the last WMCQ winner, Mate Zadelkai. That's, you want a 1-2 punch. That's a hell of a 1-2 punch.
It is. I'll give you another 1-2 punch in a minute, which is Sweden, the team that didn't make it in at 4 and 3 last year. 2 of those players are back, Joel Larsson and Ola Rada, Hall of Famer. Then you've got Lova Jansa with his Pro Tour top 8.
Yeah, I mean, you may remember him with the fish hat.
Right, as the top Swede, because they all had to wear the fish hat.
Right.
So that's Sweden. Let's move on. We're going to stay with the S's, because all the S teams are really good, because Spain's pretty good as well. But here's Switzerland, and I'm going to spoil it for you now. They're my idea of the winner. I think this is a tremendous outfit.
Well, I mean, Nico Boni and Andreas Gans are both Pro Tour stalwarts, but I actually don't know.
San Martin's a GP winner.
Yeah.
And then Rita Somani, he is relatively unknown. But unlike most teams where you think there's a 1, mostly there's a 2, some teams have a 3, and then you have to squint quite a lot. Rita Somani's like played dozens of GPs with reasonable success. You know, he doesn't have a top 8 or anything. But when you want someone to be rock solid, well, it's Switzerland. Of course they're rock solid. All right, who have we got next? How about, okay, you can, BDM, come here. You can tell me. It's just us.
Yeah.
You're going to win this year, aren't you?
I think we're going to win.
I thought you thought.
I really do think we're going to win.
Yeah.
I like this team a lot.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, this team was great even before they demonstrated that they were great. Because, sure, Neil Oliver and Owen Turtenwald, you all know about. But Isaac Sears and Andy Beckstrom, less so. But in the last 4 months, they've kind of said, hi, it's me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys have flourished since their WMCQ wins. You know, and these guys are people who play in the Open Series regularly. You know, you see them regularly at Grand Prix. And you know what? There's something about Owen where, I mean, he's really like, you know, if Owen has formed that bond, you know, that is very powerful. You see it with Peach Garden Oath. And, you know, you also see it with this team. These guys, he's like, I really, really like my team. I like these guys. They are good. He is not someone who's ever going to lie to you for public relations, right? He's never going to be like, oh, yeah, I really like my team. He'd be like, you know, they're okay. No, he's like, I really like these guys. And when he says that, I really expect great things from this squad.
Yeah, I think they're one of...
And by the way, Neil Oliver is coming off of a Grand Prix finals just, 2 weeks ago.
Right, exactly. I think it's worth saying that they are one of maybe 2, maybe 3 teams where you could set the bar at top 4. There are plenty of teams...
I'd be pretty shocked if they're not top 8 on Sunday.
I would be amazed if you don't see the US on Sunday. They are super, super good.
But I also always root for my Mets, so, I'm a little bit of a homer.
Sure. So, we told you about the World Magic Cup. Remember, also on Sunday, we're going to claim the title for the World Championship. And 11 players are our dream chasers this weekend. Let's take a look. These 11 people will try and go the distance across so many formats, so many rounds, so many days, so many opponents. And on Sunday, one of these 11 could win a quarterfinal in the teams, a semi-final in the teams, a World Magic Cup in the teams, and then come back and go 3 out of 5, 3 out of 5. Brian David-Marshall, of this incredibly storied 11, who has the best chance of finishing the weekend with 1 trophy in that hand, 1 trophy in that hand?
I would say that it's North America. Sean McLaren, the Canadian team, great team. But I've got to expect, if you're looking for someone who's got a great team and has the ability to just, cruise through to the finals of the World Championship, I love Owen right now.
He's the #1 player in the world for a reason right now. He's a terrific player. The 24 in the World Championship are great. The 72 teams are great. And you are going to be great as long as you remember 5 days of awesome coming your way here from Nice. For Brian David-Marshall, I'm your host, Rich Hagon, saying bye.